I want to read this. I want to read this screenshot real quick. So I think you guys can see it. So this is a screenshot that Zilzium posted on the Discord. Or sorry, not on the Discord, but on the video I did for the game-changing announcement. I want to read this because this really, he really, or I should say this person, talks about it from the other side. Like, what's their view on the other side of it? So they say, I'm still conflicted because you keep advocating for them to remove the main things that set this game apart from the others. That there is no home kingdoms, that there are seasonal resets, and that there are not kings that decide everything. So let me unpack the first line real quick. Or actually, let's read this all the way through. I should think there are other solutions other than turn this game into Rise of Kingdoms Part 2. It's just everyone keeps wanting to scrap everything as their first choice. If we want to change over to rock style of Home Kingdom, then seasonal KVK, then back to Home Kingdom, then there will no longer be any resets. If we get a king of the server, we'll just go down that same toxic rabbit hole as the other games. What makes this game unique is that it doesn't have those things, and it has seasonal resets. Let's not make getting rid of the unique thing about the game the first solution to the very real problems. No? So, again, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's start at the top. So, the initial thing here is that he was saying that I'm advocating for them to remove the main things that set this game apart from the others. That's not true at all. To be fair, the main things that separate CoD from Rock is not whether or not it has home kingdoms. It's the base foundational features that already make the game unique compared to other kingdom builders at the quality and standard level that they're currently being done at, which is, one, you have true ranged PvP, which to me is the number one feature that this game has over other games at the level that it's at, specifically. Number two, you have flying units that can go over terrain. Three, you have on-field buildable structures. Four, you have time. You have self-activated artifacts and skills that you can use for the heroes in-game. And then five, you're destroying buildings on the outside of them and not doing rallies to them, which really is kind of a smaller point, but really the first four, and then you would add in things like seasonal resets. But seasonal resets I don't think is like a big unique thing. There are some other games like Lord of the Rings Rise to War was one of the recent big ones that implemented a seasonal reset system, but it varied from what CoD does. So I think that's the first thing, is that we're not advocating for that. That's where you need to be a little bit more specific, right, in what they're saying. That there is no home kingdoms, there's no seasonal resets, and that there are not kings that decide everything. So them not having home kingdoms here, I don't necessarily think that like that's a big game changing of a thing, even though quite a few kingdom builders do have home kingdoms. I think the thing that needs to be understood is that there's a difference between saying, okay, well, is this thing that's setting apart the game really benefiting the game? Are we seeing net positive gains? Are we seeing increase in popularity? Are we seeing low player drop off? Are we seeing low attrition rates? Are we seeing high engagement, high replayability because of the fact that there's no home kingdoms? Or is this factoring in to it in some way, shape, or form? And I think the clear answer, like we've talked about, is that not having home kingdoms is a clear, huge factor into a lack of community built and community driven kingdoms, where you feel this sense of social engagement beyond that of just one alliance, which again can be anywhere from 150 to like 180 players, right? Or 200 players, give or take. The seasonal resets, not kings that decide everything. Now, to be fair, this is a little bit of what I like to feel like a biased viewpoint on the kings decide everything, because it also depends on what kingdoms you've played in. Remember, if you're someone who's only ever played in one kingdom or two kingdoms in games that run a king-queen system, then, and let's just say you had a bad experience, well, I mean, that's kind of what you could argue would be written here by someone who's maybe had a poor experience, or if they've heard of poor experiences being done. Usually, in most cases, it's typically kind of a first-hand experience that I usually see these types of comments being written as, because I can tell you that I'm very aware of kingdoms that do not have kings that necessarily decide every single thing, where like it's always down to one person. Some kingdoms can have a system set up where things are decided by one person. Sometimes they can have it decided by multiple people. Sometimes you can have it decided by a council, where whether it's 1, 2, 3 people that are a part of that, and you guys do majority votes. There's a couple ways that you can go about running a hierarchy and a decision-making body of kingdoms. But it doesn't always have to be one way or the other. And the next one is, I should think that there are solutions other than turn this game into Rise of Kingdoms Part 2. I mean, to be fair, quite a few people already call Call of Dragons Rise of Kingdoms 2.0. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't categorize it as that. I think Call of Dragons is already unique enough that it's separated itself from Rise of Kingdoms, and there's already quite a lot of common denominator features that we see in a number of kingdom builders. But, sometimes I don't know if I should say, I don't see other people saying that about other games. It's not to say that. It's just that Rise of Kingdoms wasn't the first kingdom builder, right? It may be arguably the most popular kingdom builder at the moment, and has been for a while, but it's not the only one. And there was other kingdom builders before Rock that were using features that Rock eventually added in. And then it's just everyone keeps wanting to scrap everything as their first choice. Bear in mind, adding home kingdoms isn't scrapping something, you're adding something. Right? The game doesn't have this in there, so you're adding it. You're not taking away, right? This is an addition, not subtraction. And then it's if we change over to a Rock style of home kingdom and seasonal KVK, then back to home kingdom, there will no longer be any resets. That's not true. No one said anything about removing resets. If anything, as I've said earlier, I'm advocating for resets. I think that some of resets need to stay in the game that are hard resets, and some that are soft, and then some that don't reset. There's nothing wrong with being able to have a healthy mixed bag, because I think there is great value in the reset system. It just has to be applied appropriately. If we get a king of the server, we'll just go down that same toxic rabbit hole as the other games. I mean, bear in mind, this isn't like an absolute guarantee, but it's more of, it depends on who's running that kingdom. It depends on who's the majority force there, or who are the big dogs, or who's the big dog alliance, right? Is it multiple alliances where a family's running the kingdom as the main presence there? Is it one alliance that is just like recruiting all the spenders, and then they're just kind of running the show? And then it also comes down to how that king or queen, right? Because it's not just kings, it could be a queen too as well. Shout out to the ladies. Is that it also depends on how they run and manage the kingdom. But I'll tell you right now, if you're asking me, would I rather play in a kingdom that doesn't have any form of governing body and doesn't have any form of structure or organization or decision making, and it's just left up to everyone else to kind of figure things out, or if you're saying or leave things the way they are now, oh my God, like it's not even a choice. Like I'm banking my money on the home kingdom option every day of the week, because the thing is that players can be educated, right? Players can be made aware of good and bad habits on how to go about managing kingdoms. This is something that I talk about very often. For people that watch my content, you have seen me cover these things before, where I'll talk about how to manage an alliance as a lead, how to be an officer, how to be an efficient leader, how you manage your R4s, how to manage different departments within an alliance. When you're looking at how to organize, when you're looking at how to group and organize alliances or coordinate with other alliances outside of your own within a kingdom, these are things I talk about. So these are very much teachable things where players can hopefully learn from them. Does it mean that everyone's going to take good, what I would consider to be good advice or healthy and educational information and take that away and try to improve from it? No, it doesn't mean that. Sure, you're probably still going to get some bad actors here and there. That's just the way it is. But it is something that can be a bigger net positive than it can be a negative. Then we get to what makes this game unique is that it doesn't have those things, and it has seasonal resets. Let's not make getting rid of unique thing about the game the first solution. And again, I don't think it is the first solution. Like, remember, Call of Dragons has been up for almost a year now. It's been up for 10 months, about 10 months. And they've already had, four resets already that they've done, at least for the players that have played, that were playing in beta, where they went through a Season 1, they went through 2 Season 1 pluses, they did a Season 2, and now they're in S2 plus, right? So not the majority. The majority of people have probably only done about 2 resets so far. I probably should say 1 reset. But a healthy amount of people in beta have already done 4 resets. Yeah.
Are you about to go?
I am. I'm about to finish. I'm about to get off right now. And so anyways, so like I said, I hope that helps kind of answer this one. But yeah, I mean, again, I really appreciate this comment, because I think it's great to be able to talk these things out and, try to find some type of middle ground where, or even just kind of come to an understanding, right, of one another from hearing things out. Like they're, and this is one of those things where, like, I would almost love to speak to someone like this in person on voice to really chat about this, because I just think this is such a great topic. Like these types of topics are just absolutely fantastic. And I think these are the things that the community needs to hear a lot more of.